Alright, so this right here is the all-new Moto Edge 30 Fusion, and it's one of those devices that I've been waiting to test out for a very long time, ever since it was launched in China. Because the specs for the price are so good. Of course, in India, it has still been launched at a premium if you compare it with the China pricing. But then again, the device in itself still manages to justify its price tag. Or does it? Let's find out. This is Vaughn from GTR and you're watching my in-depth review of the all-new Moto Edge 30 Fusion. Let's get started. Alright, so let's kick things off by starting about the design here. And as you can see, I'm just enjoying the device because it's so lightweight and so slim. Like, one of the best things that I liked about the Moto Edge 30, which you saw in our review, was the design of it because it was so slim and lightweight. The Moto Edge 30 Fusion takes things forward with an even slimmer and a still more ergonomic device to hold and just use. Like, literally using this phone in itself is just so good. Weighing at 175 grams, the device is quite lightweight and is just 7.4 mm thin. You still get an aluminum frame with Gorilla Glass 5 protection on both front and back, and the device is also IP52 rated for dust and water protection. Now the phone does feel a bit tall, but the device in itself is very well built. The texture on the back is slightly slippery at first, but your hands adapt to it very quickly to the point where the curved display in itself adds more grip to it, and the device overall feels quite ergonomic. Now, of course, you get dual SIM connectivity here. There's no 3.5 headphone jack here, and those are two things to be expected. One more thing that I'd like to highlight is that the haptic feedback on this phone is absolutely amazing. Like, it's just next to a flagship experience. It's that refined. Next up, we have the display, and the Moto Edge 30 Fusion comes with a 6.55-inch OLED panel, and you get a refresh rate option of choosing between 60 or 144 Hz. Unfortunately, there's no 90 Hz option here, which I personally would have preferred because that's more like a sweet spot for maintaining good visuals, smooth visuals with a good battery backup. But nonetheless, it's still a good experience. It's not a good, it's a great experience. Panel itself is a 10-bit display with HDR10 Plus certification, and YouTube in itself can play back 4K videos at 60 FPS with HDR. On the other hand, while Netflix does showcase support for wideband L1, there is no support for HDR inside the app yet. But of course, things are expected to change with a software update. The display in itself is DCI-P3 color calibrated and is quite color accurate too, which once again is something we've come to expect from Motorola's displays. As for outdoor legibility, you get 1100 nits of peak brightness, which works very well, especially considering the segment that this phone is priced in. Aiding the display department, you have stereo speakers that are quite loud, work very well, and also come with support for Dolby Atmos for fine tuning. So yeah, as far as entertainment quotient goes, the Moto Edge 30 has you covered. One more thing that I would like to slightly add on is obviously once again the design department, but binge watching content on this is very comfortable if you're just planning to hold your device like this. Once again, that's a reason because of the lightweight. So yeah, that definitely comes in handy. Now moving along, let's talk about the cameras here. The Moto Edge 30 Fusion comes with a 50MP OIS primary sensor coupled with a 13MP ultra-wide sensor and a 2MP depth sensor. Up front, you get a 32MP shooter for selfies. In terms of the camera performance, for daylight shots, they are mostly color accurate shots which are quite close to reality. They're slightly vibrant in some cases, but not extremely. And the good part here is that the images are well detailed and quite sharp too. Talking about the HDR performance, I would say that the overall performance is pretty good. It's not the best out there for sure, and you do notice a slight tint of added vibrance, and I do feel that the shadows could have been illuminated a little bit better, but as a whole, it's not bad at all. Moving on to low light performance, the normal low light mode works very well, and the OIS definitely helps in keeping the shot stable and mostly noise free. My issue is with the night mode, which works very weirdly and adds a tint to it. I mean, in most cases, the normal mode works better than the dedicated night mode. Moving on to selfies, well, while the edge detection in portraits is pretty good and the skin tones are pretty balanced, I feel that the images themselves could use a little bit more sharpening, considering the fact that it does come with a 32MP sensor. Moving on to videos, the phone can record 8K videos at 30 FPS or 4K videos at 60 FPS, and you do get OIS stabilization here. Now, one thing I would like to highlight is that when you're recording a video, one thing that immediately struck to me was the fact that there was a lot of frame drops. Thankfully, that is not the case in the final video that's processed. But yeah, as like when you're recording a video, that thing kind of gets infuriating. We're recording 4K 30 FPS footage from the Moto Edge 30 Fusion, and I'm noticing a lot of frame cropping. The stability is definitely there, but there's a lot of frame cropping as well as a lot of frame drops as well. Like the recording experience is not at all smooth. Full HD 30 FPS, the experience is so much better right now. As you can see, the stability is there, OIS works very well, and yeah, I mean, at least the recording experience seems to be far better. I'm moving sideways by the way, but as you can see, the camera is super stable and there's not a lot to complain about here. Alright, so moving along, let's talk about the performance here. Oh yeah, this thing has Moto actions. I will talk about it in the software section. Can you please calm down? Yeah. Thank you. Let's talk about the performance. Now the phone comes with the Snapdragon 888 Plus processor coupled with UFS 3.1 storage, and the benchmarks are on your screen. The performance is as you would expect from it, but one thing that I would like to highlight is that in a 15-minute CPU throttling test, what we noticed was just 86% throttling with medium light greens and very slight yellows. The good part is that there is no oranges here, which basically means that you can push this device for an extended period of time without having to worry about overheating. And that is what we noticed in the gaming department. For about 30 to 40 minutes, you can game easily without any issues, after which some slight overheating is noticeable. But then again, that was kind of to be expected considering all of the heating issues that are already surrounding the 888 Plus architecture, like the processor, and the fact that this is, after all, a very slim device. So I mean, CPU throttling or overheating are two things that were to be expected right off the bat. But it's nice to see that it's not to an extreme extent. As far as day-to-day usage is concerned, you get top-notch performance with zero lags or hiccups. The phone itself is super smooth and you have zero issues whatsoever. Now in terms of software, the phone comes with Moto My UX based on Android 12, which is similar to stock Android with Motorola's additions on top. But the good part here is that the phone comes with zero bloatware. And in terms of stability as well, I personally haven't noticed any issues, at least on my unit here. Also, as far as my UX in itself is concerned, I've already talked in depth about it in our review of the Moto Edge 30 Ultra, so make sure to check it out from the card here. But one thing I'd like to add on is that I personally am a fan of this skin because it's basically stock Android with all of added essentials that really make the experience pretty smooth and quite fluid. And the best part is that it does not hamper the stability. The only thing I wish is that Motorola just worked on their update schedule, because that is one thing that I pointed out in the Edge 30 Ultra review as well, and that is one thing that I've highlighted in other Edge series reviews as well. The update track record in terms of Android versions is not that good when it comes to Motorola's devices. Lastly, we have the battery life. The phone comes with a 4400 mAh battery with support for 68 watts of fast charging. Now in terms of the battery life, the phone easily lasts a full day, but you do need some charge if you plan on using it at night to watch a show or something. The good part here is that the 68 watt charger is included in the box. Now it's nice to see that Motorola is finally including fast charging tech at par with the competitors. And as far as the charging speed is concerned, the phone goes from 0 to 100% in under 40 minutes. Which brings us to the pricing. Now the phone has been launched for a price tag of Rs 43,000. However, in the upcoming Flipkart Big Billion Day sales, you can pick this up for just 40 grand. So the big question, is the Moto Edge 30 Fusion worth it? Well, for its price tag, actually forget the price tag, actually even at just looking at the spec sheet, the only other 888 Plus phone that we have in the country is the iQOO 9. And in comparison to that, the Moto Edge 30 Fusion definitely has a couple of things going for it. You get a slim form factor, you get a lightweight form factor that definitely fits better in your hand. You get still pretty good performance. Of course, the iQOO 9 does have better sustained performance because it's cooled better, but for normal users or even slight gaming, the performance on this is damn good. The camera is quite reliable, and of course you get stock Android, near stock Android without any bloatware. Personally, as much as I loved the Moto Edge 30, which of course is a different ballgame altogether considering it comes with Snapdragon 778 Plus, I think the Fusion Plus is a worthy big brother to that device. And as is the case with Motorola's devices, you buy a Moto device for the experience. It's a well-rounded device that basically checks all the boxes. And considering the fact that Motorola has now offered charging tech that's at par with the competition, I have no issues recommending this device to anyone out there. And well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Till then, this is Ron from GTR, and I'll see you in the next one.